Alright, after a 1 week hiatus, I want to welcome you back to the Commish Notes. I promise I'll try to speak less this week so I can actually load it onto YouTube. First off, we have the Man Boobs taking out the Miami Marlins 108.48 to 75.34. The win moves the Man Boobs to 9-3 on the season and clinches the ever-important first-round bye. The Man Boobs had the third highest score this week thanks to 5 out of 9 players going for double figures and 20-plus efforts from Arian Foster and Drew Brees. The lone lowlight for the Man Boobs comes from typically reliable kicker Matt Bryant, who pulled a medlock, missing 2 field goals, including a 22-yarder for a 2-point effort this week. Fun fact, despite being 9-3, the Man Boobs have failed to score over projections in every game this season. The loss drops the Marlins to 5-7 on the season as the entire league shudders at the thought of Joel wearing a dress. Believe it or not, the Crew actually had the same amount of players go for double figures and exceeded projections by 2 points. Unfortunately, when your team is only projected for 73 points, the only hope you have is to play POC or no one's daddy that week. Lowlights for the Marlins include Carson Palmer, whose 7.84 points finished as the 28th best quarterback this week, beating out juggernauts Nick Foles, Brady Quinn, Ryan Lindley, and Charlie Batch. The Packers defense tried to do their best Clemson defense impression, finishing with a league-worst -3 points. Fun fact, if the Miami Marlins wouldn't have sold off his team this week, he would have won by 4.78 points and only 1 win away from a possible playoff spot. Barring a crazy stat correction, the Toronto Blue Jays pulled off a thrilling 102.6 to 102.4 victory over the Ball and Click. The Jays' 4th consecutive victory moves them to 7-5 on the season and clinches a playoff spot. The Jays received great efforts from the law firm, Armand Bradshaw and Marshall Reese, who finished with a combined 48 points. Fun fact, despite only starting the last 3 games, Marcel Reese only trails Darren McFadden by 1.3 points on the season. It was not all positive for the Jays as Antonio Gates continues his slide towards fantasy irrelevance with a 1.3 effort. Through Week 12, Antonio Gates currently ranks as the 16th best tight end, only 4 points ahead of Brent Selleck. The Ball and Click fall to 6-6 on the season despite being the 2nd highest scoring team in the league. The Click made a great pickup starring T.Y. Hilton, whose 15.3 effort was one of 6 Ball and Click players who went for double figures. Unfortunately, last week's hero, Vernon Davis, turned into a 0, which also matches point total for the week. Vernon's effort was good for 54th this week amongst tight ends, tying him with former Eagles tight end L.J. Smith and former Falcon, Titan, and Patriots tight end Algie Crumpler. The SC Utes snapped a 3-game losing streak, defeating no one's daddy 105.52 to 79.74. The victory gets the Utes back to 500 and sets up a winner-takes-all matchup with the Fussies next week. The Utes got decent contributions from all of his players to go along with Tom Brady's 37.42 effort, which was good for the 2nd highest quarterback total this week. Reggie Bush rose from the dead, scoring 14.2 points after combining for 4.4 points over the last 2 weeks. No One's Daddy maintains his firm grip on last place, moving to 3-9 on the season. No One's Daddy received double-digit efforts from 2 out of 9 players, with Matt Stafford's 30.34 accounting for 38% of his scoring. The rest of his team put up underwhelming stats, but nothing Commish notes worthy with the exception of James Jones. James Jones' 0-point effort tied him for 107th this week with former Cowboys player Roy Williams, the one that Dallas traded 2 first-round picks to, not the overweight safety that couldn't cover Dusty downfield while he was getting a piggyback from Big Mike. Speaking of Dusty, the Fussy ones lost to Romalicious 99.14 to 68.34. With the victory, Romalicious moves to 6-6 on the season and only 1 win away from an improbable playoff berth. Romalicious was led by team captain Tony Romo, who scored an incredible 34.34 points despite only having 2 points at halftime. Wayne received solid contributions from every team member with the exception of Miles Austin, who was unable to take part in the garbage time scoring because of a hip pointer injury. Nothing else to add outside of good job, Wayne. Proud of you. The Fussy ones fall to 6-6 on the season and currently on the outside looking in for a playoff spot. Fun fact, Wayne and Chad have accounted for 50% of Fussy's losses this season. The Fussies only received double-digit efforts from turnover machine Matty Ice and Steven Jackson, who continues his strong play in the second half of the season. Fun fact, through Week 12, Steven Jackson is currently ranked as the 21st best running back this week, only 3.4 points behind fellow Fussy running back Matt Forte. It appears Jackson will make his rise up the depth charts on Fussy's team as Forte injured his ankle again, finishing with the stellar 2.6 points. Some other lowlights include Aaron Hernandez, who returned from injury, filling the shoes of Gronkowski admirably with 3.6 points, which was good for 32nd this week. Pickup of the week, Ronnie Hillman delivered 0.9 points, which ranks 76th amongst running backs, and perhaps even more embarrassing, only receiving 3 carries over a running back that has been a healthy scratch since Week 2, Deshaun Marino. No one circles the wagons like POC as they put up their 4th highest total of the season in a 108.74 to 92.74 defeat to Houdat. Houdat was led by RG3, who scored 37.34, which was good for 3rd best this week amongst quarterbacks, and Andre Johnson, who continues his fantasy onslaught, averaging 26.05 points over the last 2 weeks. The Bears' defense continues their outstanding play with 14 points. Through Week 12, the Bears have amassed 176 points, which is 28 more points than the next highest scoring defense. With 1 week to go, POC only trails No One's Daddy by 12.9 points in the overall scoring. Fun fact, with the loss, POC has matched their loss total from the last 2 seasons combined. Standouts for POC include Cam Newton, whose 41.44 points was the highest score amongst quarterbacks this week, and St. Louis Rams defense, whose 23 points was good for 2nd best amongst defenses. Also, great call by Mullis, picking up a competent kicker, as Shane Graham scored 11 points this week, which accounted for 1/4 of Justin Medlock's season total. Unfortunately, that's where the positive end, as newly acquired Mike Wallace and Rashard Mendenhall combined for a negative 0.5 points this week, while Larry Fitzgerald continues his collapse, now ranked as the 32nd best wide receiver in fantasy. I don't think anyone's ever been as excited as Larry Fitzgerald has been with Kevin Cobb hopefully returning back from injury. In our last matchup of the week, the heavy hitters took out the Ramrodders 144.2 to 102.06 in Toyota's Hall of Fame blowout of the week. With the victory, the heavy hitters clinched the number 1 seed in the playoffs and is all but assured of winning the points title as well. The heavy hitters received double-digit efforts from 7 out of 9 players, including 20-point plus efforts from Calvin Johnson, Andy Dalton, and the Pats defense. Fun fact, through Week 12, the heavy hitters have outscored POC by 503.9 points, an average of 41.99 points per week. The Ramrodders suffered another tough loss despite a great game from Des Bryant. Fun fact, since Week 8, Des Bryant has outscored Donald Brown 70.8 to 20.1. The Ramrodders also received solid contributions from Frank Gore, Demaryius Thomas, and Jordy Nelson. Unfortunately for the Ramrodders, for the 2nd consecutive week, Aaron Rodgers has been mediocre at best with 12.96 points, which was 15.16 points under projection. To go along with Rodgers, the Ramrodders also had Matt Prater pull a Medlock, scoring 1 point, and Scotty Chandler continues to prove he is only a valuable fantasy play against the Pats defense. Heading into Week 13, the top and bottom is pretty much spoken for, but plenty of intrigue for the final 3 playoff spots. This week we have the number 2 Man Boobs taking on the number 3 Blue Jays. I have nothing funny to add. Give me the Man Boobs to fall short of projections, but still enough for the victory. The Marlins take on the Ramrodders, which is a must-win for the Ramrodders if they want to sneak into the playoffs. In addition, they will be pulling for Houdat to take out Romalicious. Give me the Ramrodders and what I predict will be a very lopsided score. The SC Utes and Fussy Dusty's battle with the winner clinching a playoff spot, and the winner likely on the outside looking in. Give me the Utes to get back into the playoffs and Dusty to officially get on suicide alert. Houdat tries to play spoiler this week as they take on Romalicious. Give me Romalicious to win their 7th victory of the season, which would tie their win total from the last 2 seasons combined, and to make playoffs for the first time ever. And what's almost assured to be the blowout of the week, I'll take the heavy hitters to avenge their Week 2 loss of POC by defeating POC by 41.99 points. The Blind Click has essentially clinched the playoff spot, provided they outscore the Ram Riders by 39.11 points. But with a victory over No One's Daddy and a Blue Jays loss to the Man Groups, they can move to the number 3 seed. I have some inside information on this one. I was told first-round pick Greg Jennings, who currently has 13.8 points on the season, told Dave to believe in his smelf because he'll be back this week. With that renewed confidence, I'm taking No One's Daddy to sow his oats into the click. That's all I've got this week. Hope you enjoy, and I'll catch you next week.